What's up, guys? I wanted to touch bases with you guys. I'm in the process of straightening my hair right now, and it is a hot ass mess. I bought a new straightener a couple weeks back, and I'm barely using it. It's not going well, as you can see. I already straightened it one time, and I'm going over this side, and it honestly just looks like I combed out my curls. But let me see. I just wanted to talk about something today. In the last video, I said that I was going to talk about addiction. So that's what today we're going to talk about. I just can't with my hair. Like, I thought I was going to be doing something with this, and it looks horrible. Okay. Ow, 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 ow. Ah! Okay. So, I want to talk about addiction. So, if I can get this clippy out of my hair. Hold on, guys. Ah! Oh no, it's stuck. Is it stuck? I have like a mirror right in front of me, so that's what I'm looking at. Oh my gosh, how did this even happen? This literally would happen right now. Oh my god, dude. Okay, finally. Anyways, like, okay, you see? This is like, I think the more straightened side because I went over it, and then I'm working on this side. Anyways, so I want to go over addiction today. I think I mentioned it, if you guys follow me on TikTok. I mentioned it on TikTok. You know, both my parents have struggled with addiction, and I have watched addiction very actively in my family. So, like I said, my dad struggles with active alcoholism. So, I have watched him throughout the years, throughout my childhood. I have watched him struggle tremendously with his alcoholism. And honestly, we're close. Our relationship is pretty up and down because, you know, he drinks and I don't fuck with that. And when I'm not saying he goes to Fridays and has one drink and he's done. No. He drinks. Not only does my dad drink, he drinks and he drives. I don't fuck with that either because you are putting your life, and most importantly, you are putting other people's lives at danger, which is very selfish, and that also scares me because my dad has been in trouble many times with the law because of his drinking and driving, and you know, it scares me. So anyways, back to the topic. Yes, my dad has active alcohol addiction, and you know, we've gone to many tussles, physical tussles, and not only that, he says things that are verbally not okay. But now that I'm older, I've set boundaries with him. When he drinks, he is not allowed to booty call me because he's drunk. I do not allow that anymore like I used to when I was younger. And then my mom, she struggled with an addiction as well. She, growing up, would pop pills. And then as I got older, you know, her pill addiction was pretty intense when I was growing up with her. But as I got older, she would do meth, and then it went to alcohol. So yeah, there was always, my parents always had some kind of addiction, you know? So I've seen it both. Parents were separated, so they always had something going on. And I thought it was normal. I'm like, okay, la-di-da-di-da. I would go hang out with my dad. He'd be beer spilling over, and I'm like, this is normal. My aunt that I'm actually very close to, she also was in an active addiction until recently, but she was also a functioning alcoholic. Now, when I say functioning, that doesn't make it any better. Just because she functions doesn't make it any better. Yeah, and I have two cousins. One is a recovering addict. My other cousin, actually, which makes me really sad to talk about, but she just relapsed. And yeah, you know, both of the drugs of choice were meth. So, you know, I have seen a lot. And, you know, this is why I choose to not do that. Do meth, drugs, anything like that. Not to say that I don't drink. Yeah, I like to get tipsy here and then, drink a little wine, drink a little something. But I don't want to be like my dad. I love my dad with all my heart. But I don't want to be addicted to anything. Now, going back a little further, on my dad's side of my family, my grandparents, my grandfather is a addict. He's sober, been sober for many, many years, but in his day, he was an addict of drinking, cocaine, I think meth, from the stories I have been told. On my mother's side, my grandparents, my grandmother, she was a alcoholic, from what my mom has told me in the past, a severe alcoholic. And my grandfather, who I never met, or my mom never met, because he was a heroin addict, and you know, he was doing something he shouldn't have been doing, and he was killed trying to rob a liquor store. He was shot and killed trying to rob a liquor store for his next high. So, going back even further, on my dad's side again, my great-grandfather, he was also an addict back in his day of alcoholism. So yeah, as you can see, alcoholism and meth and all these drugs and active addictions, I have been, like, it's been around generations. It's generational damage, generational toxicity, and I have seen it, okay? So it's been something that I have honestly been trying to stir away from, because it's like I'm trying to honestly, as much as possible, although it has been very hard for me, I am trying to break all of these generational curses, generational trauma bonds, generational toxic cycles. And it is hard, especially when there's all these, you know, a lot of people in my family have struggled with addiction. I'm going to be honest. I don't have an addiction. I used to be addicted to vaping. I stopped doing that because I was like, I don't want something happening to me. I already have a lot of health problems. I don't need more. So I stopped cold turkey. Yes, it was hard, but what's more important? My lungs are, oh, that looks cute. My lungs are the flavor of a vape. So yeah, I stopped. And what motivated me to stop was mainly my health, but also I noticed I was becoming very dependent on vaping, and I noticed I was becoming addicted to it. I didn't like it. And I don't want to be like anyone in my family that has ever had an addiction, because like I don't want to follow those ways. I don't want to do that. And I'm not knocking anybody down that has overcome an addiction. It's just growing up and knowing, you know, most of my family members have had addictions, or they still do have active addictions. You know, that does something to your brain. It does something to the relationships. And I just didn't want that for myself. Okay, let me see. Now, to this day, like I mentioned earlier, it is still really hard for me to maintain a stable relationship with some of these people I named. So I mentioned my dad earlier. It is hard for me sometimes to have a stable relationship with my dad, because he has weeks where he will stay drunk every day. So when I want to hang out with him or go on a lunch date with him, I go over thinking we're gonna have a daughter-daddy date. It doesn't go that way. It ends up being, I go over, he's already drunk, and it turns into this big disaster, and I'm disappointed because I was looking forward to our our lunch date. And yeah, I learned, you know, to tell my dad, look, if we're gonna hang out, you can't be in your little mood. So what I do is I set something up. Hey dad, you want to hang out this day, this day? He'll tell me yes. I'll be like, okay, make sure you're not drunk or we're not gonna go. Simple as that. And for the most part, it does work. But there was an incident where, this actually happened 2 weeks ago. There was an incident where, you know, he wasn't drunk. He was fine. We went out to eat and he started drinking. My dad is the type of alcoholic, when he has one, he doesn't know how not to have another one. So he can't just enjoy the drink. He has to constantly, give me another one, give me another one. So we were at a restaurant and he had about 6 drinks and he was drunk. And we were not close to his house. We were about 45 minutes away. He drove, so I had to drive back. And I was, you know, I was very disappointed because we were having a good time. We were talking, chatting, and he starts crying at the restaurant, boo-hooing, talking about all this. And, you know, it was hard for me to deal with. Keep a straight face, because when my dad gets like that, it gets me really frustrated. And I can't help but to be a bitch to him when he's like that. I know it sounds really messed up, but coming from, like, I've explained to my dad so many times, like, coming from my perspective, like, I tell my dad, you have to understand, I'm gonna be 25 soon. I've been seeing you get like this since I was a little girl. It's time for a change. And he always tells me the same thing. Don't worry, kiddo, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna change. But as you guys all know, that's what all addicts say. Until something bad happens, something traumatic, like they get sick, something, oh, they're gonna go locked up. Like, those are that's the only time I've seen my dad sober. Like, yeah, he got locked up, and he was locked up for, like, I think a month or two, and he was sober. And then as soon as he got out, he ran to the store, got something to drink. And what hurt me the most about that was when my dad was locked up for that time period, I was battling cancer. And I literally had to go through that alone, being told I had cancer alone. And, you know, for a minute, I resented my dad for that, because I was like, damn, you know, if he wasn't so selfish and this and that, he could have been there for me. But I kind of let that go a little bit. But moving on, yeah, like, I try my best not to follow those toxic traits. Like, and I know it's hard. I always hear people saying on social media, oh, you don't smoke, you don't drink, well, I can't live a sober life. That's boring. Like, it's not boring. And I'm living proof of that. Like, yes, I said I do drink sometimes, but it's like, if you don't know how to have fun without drinking, without smoking, without having some type of substance in your body, you're living life wrong. Like, when I get bored or when I don't know what I'm doing to have fun, I'm gonna figure something out. I'm gonna play a game on my phone. I'm gonna go outside, enjoy the nature. I'm gonna pick up a book, do a crossword puzzle, like, do something that is fun for me. Normally I will go on a hike, but right now I can't because I'm still recovering from surgery. So it's like, I don't understand why people say things like that. I don't know. What do you guys think about my straight hair? It doesn't really look that straight to me. Like, I'm kind of not happy with the straightener, but I guess. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. And, you know, it's not really my story to share, but within my family, you know, a lot of my family struggles with, like I said, addiction, recovery, and all that. But like I said, it's not really my story to share. I'm just sharing the part that how it's affected me from watching it all happen. And it's just been a really huge lesson for me to not follow those footsteps. And yeah, it's sad. It's really sad to see the people that you love and care about be in active addictions or recovering. And it's sad. Like I mentioned, my cousin, she was doing really well, like really, really well, you know, working, like doing so well. And she relapsed, and like it just broke my heart because, you know, she's been off and on for a while now, and it's gonna make me cry. But when she's sober, we're very close. You know, she's endured similar things to me with as in sexual abuse, so we correlate and we relate to that and we talk about it. But you know, when she relapses, I have to set up those boundaries, because not that it's like, oh my god, you're a drug addict, I can't talk to you. It's not that. It's just, you know, she hangs out with the wrong crowd, and that wrong crowd, they're not good people. When she's in that active addiction, she's not in her right state of mind. She's doing bad things. And, you know, there's a lot of things that come into it. And, like, knowing that she went back and relapsed, it really breaks my heart. And I just hope that she's safe and she's making the right choices. And the main reason I wanted to make this video is because it correlates with sexual abuse. And you're gonna be like, oh, how? Statistically speaking, if you go on the street and ask a homeless person that is on drugs, or someone on the street that looks like they're on drugs, and you ask them, why do you do drugs? 9 times out of 10, they're gonna tell you, oh, because I went through this and this as a kid, I was abused as a kid, or I was sexually assaulted as a kid. Or they're gonna tell you, oh, I went through some messed up stuff as a kid. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like child abuse. It could, not child abuse, sexual assault. It doesn't have to be necessarily that. It could be simply child abuse. Like, I don't know if you guys watch, I follow these 2 people on YouTube. Oh my god, what is it called? There's 2 YouTube channels that I follow. Cannot remember it right now. But one of them is based off in Arizona, and he goes, if you guys will probably remember what I'm talking about if you guys watch it, and he goes to people in Arizona, and they're on drugs or they're homeless, and he interviews them and asking like, why this, why that. 9 times out of 10 it's because of what I'm saying. And you know, like, for the people in my family, my dad, for example, I'm saying this because I can speak on it because it's my dad. My dad, for example, he didn't go through sexual assault or abuse as far as I know, but he did have, you know, some stuff in his childhood. He's in denial about it. He will tell me like, oh, you know, I had a perfect childhood, da da da. There was favoritism in my childhood, but I have food on my plate and da da da. But when my dad is drunk, he will tell me like, I went through this, I went through that. And then my dad also has a very hard time with the fact that I was sexually abused and he didn't know about it. So he has a very hard time with those 2 things. So it's like, people really like have a hard time coping with these things, so they just do what they feel is best to numb the pain, and it just hurts, you know. So I've always tried my best to not take that route, especially because my abuser would always tell me that I was gonna end up like that. Oh, you're gonna end up like your cousins, on the street, on drugs. You're gonna be on the street selling your body for your next time. I'm not gonna do that. No. You're not gonna, I'm not doing that. You're not gonna define my life. And I think people always tell me like, oh, you're so strong because of all the things you've gone through. You're so strong, you're so level-headed. And sometimes I take that as a compliment, because it's like, oh, thank you, like I appreciate that a lot. But it's like, I honestly think that I'm so strong because I use those negative words that were told to me growing up as like words of motivation. And I know that I'm so strong because like of all the things that I've had to go through, So everything that I've had to go through in my life, especially with my child abuse, excuse me, I've used that as a like, no, I'm not gonna use that to set me back. I'm gonna win in life. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. So I've used that to motivate me in life to do the things I need to get done to achieve goals. And I know everybody, they cope with things differently, they process things differently, and that's totally understandable. Not everybody has the same mind process as me. Not everybody can just, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Everybody's different, I understand that. So yeah, it just really hurts me to see, like, you know, like all this generational trauma, generational addiction that runs in my family. And honestly, there's only like, if I include my brother, there's only like 3 people in my family that have really broke the chains of the generational trauma, generational addiction, and just really broke the chains and flourished. So yeah, and it's kind of like, it makes me sad, but like I'm really glad that we were able to do that. And yeah, I hope for anyone else that is struggling with, you know, going through what I'm going through, like you see your family going through active addictions and your parents were or in active addictions, you know, I'm sorry. I'm truly apologize that you have to see that, you have to endure that, because it's not healthy. It's toxic to have to see your loved ones go through that. And all I can say is, as hard as it may be, do not enable, because that is not good. And set boundaries for yourself. That is the most important thing. Because if you don't set boundaries for yourself and you're enabling, you're going to get hurt. Because I learned that the hard way. When I tell you I would enable my dad for years, he would take me to the store, take me to the store, take me to the store, take me to the store. My dad would, oh my God. When he would get so drunk and he wouldn't be able to drive, I would take him to the store. Because he would be like, if you don't take me to the store, I'm going to drive to the store. And of course I didn't want him to drive to the store, so I would take his ass to the store. And that's unhealthy. But now I don't do that. I tell him, you're going to drive to the store, you're going to drive to the store, you're a grown man. And it is what it is. But I hope this video was informal. Or I don't know what I'm trying to say, but yeah. Like, subscribe, and comment.